Good morning. How's it going? You look tired, Morgan. What's going on?
I just have like really bad allergies that I haven't had baby today.
You know what I take? I go to Dollar General and they have they have allergy sinus with headache. And it really helps. You're supposed to take 2, I take 1, and it allows me to sleep okay, so. I just proved once again that I'm not a math person, let me tell you. I had something worth 25 points, and I figured out that everything, and there were 20 questions, and the total they could make is 25 points. I decided that it was 0.8, it's 1.25. I was like, what was I thinking? So I actually took off less points, so I was sending this to my facilitator at Lubbock Cooper so that if the kids complain about losing points, say, hey, I didn't take off as many points as I was supposed to. So just get over it. I'm not going to go back and regrade anybody's. So, good morning, Post. Good morning, Morton. Morton, I'll be there to see you Friday. So, if my facilitator will let me know if you have a change in your schedule on Friday, so I'll know what time I need to get there. Is there a big pom-pom on the top of that?
No.
Oh, it's just more hat, okay, it's more hat, okay.
Yeah, if I roll it up, the little sign goes all the way over here.
And you want everybody to know what brand is it?
I have no idea. I ordered it from Tilly's.
Ah, and Chili's, don't they do like work stuff?
It's a lot of skateboarding stuff.
Oh, okay, it's one of those, okay. And I don't mean that negatively, okay, it kind of, it brings a whole different, because my son used to dress like a boarder, Of course, he was a snowboarder. He hasn't done that lately. Okay, so let's talk about, first thing I want to talk about is I've seen everybody's, if you turned in your topic for the argumentative essay for extra credit, I've seen it and graded it. And so if you see a 5 on there, don't think that means I didn't say anything. Sometimes I did, sometimes I didn't. If some people actually gave me a statement that said, the death penalty should be abolished because of this and this and this and this, I just put a 5 on. I didn't make any comments because I was okay with what you wrote. But some of you wrote questions. And if you write a question, should the death penalty be abolished, I don't know where you stand on it, and you didn't have any reasons. So you got credit. You might have gotten 5 points. But I'm still saying you need 3 reasons. You need some more information. And it doesn't, no way should it be a question. Don't think of it as a question. It should always be obvious what your stance is on the argumentative topic, okay? So that's the first thing. If you got a 0, I had 2 people write about gay marriage, or that's what they want to write on, which means they didn't pay attention to me when I said that wasn't a topic, because it's already legal. You can't argue that it should be made legal or it shouldn't be legal. We're not going to argue that. It's already legal, okay? I don't want to have to deal with that topic, because normally only people who are going to want to write about it are going to say it shouldn't be, and I don't want to read the negative side, because it's legal, so we're not going to argue that one, okay? So if you got a 0, what I said was, you cannot do this topic. It was on the prohibited list. Please send me a course message with your new topic so you can get extra credit. So it's not that I'm not going to give you extra credit. It's just that you're going to have to pick a different topic. That's all that's about, okay? So you've got in front of you, you have a page that says summary and paraphrase assignment, okay? Let's look at that. I'm going to trash some stuff, because we're going to actually go through quite a bit today, and I just promised that I would do a video and put it in on how to create the hanging indent to do work citation, okay? But here is the summary and paraphrase. There we go. So there's 2 things on here. Okay. And I do apologize to my facilitators. I actually... Okay. Let me just say. I can't spell. Area in Blackboard. So, okay. somebody just told me their kids aren't gonna be in school on November 8th. Kids go to school all week anymore? Apparently we don't. No. Well, I don't work a lot of Fridays, like, I miss every Friday because I'm driving to another school, so. All right, let me open up that document so we can look at it. Here we go. Summary, paraphrase, assignment. There are two parts to this. I don't have a sample. The paraphrase is something I've added this year because I think we need to work on that skill. Did you guys do any paraphrase writing in high school? Did y'all? Okay. That's taking somebody else's words, putting it into your own, but you still have to give credit, all right? So summary. Students will write a summary of an article according to the steps in chapter 18 of the Langham textbook, okay? It's not hard, you know. This will be double-spaced, 12 or 14 point font, with an appropriate MLA heading. It should be no more than 1 to 1.5 pages total in length, starting with the citation. It might be a full 2 pages, depending on what you choose to paraphrase. I'm just telling you that, okay? You will use an article about your chosen argumentative topic. So what I'm asking you to do is do research about your topic, and then write a summary on it, and then you can apply that to your argumentative essay. You can use it in your essay. Maybe not the full summary, but you can use main points of it, okay? That counts as a source. So I'm trying to blend these two assignments together for your benefit. The articles to summarize should be a minimum of 900 words long, and the reason for that is if you get something that's only 250 words, you're not going to be able to write a summary of any length. I'm just, you know, I want you to have to read something and understand it. You will turn in the summary paraphrase document and a copy of the article to Blackboard for grading, okay? Hopefully, and what will happen is that some article you're going to do the summary over, you will submit tomorrow for extra credit. It's 5 points extra credit, okay? All you have to do is download the article and upload it to the link. It's an easy thing to get done. So here, we're going to talk about paraphrase now. Students will then select a single sentence or a couple of sentences of at least 30 words total to do paraphrase over. So, you know, if I just said a sentence, somebody's going to pick a sentence that has 7 words in it and try to paraphrase it. That's called being lazy and taking the easy way out. So that's why there's a 30-word limit. Not a limit, there's a 30-word minimum. Does that make sense? So if you've got 2 sentences and it's 40 words, then you've got to summarize the 2 sentences. You can't do part of a sentence because it won't make sense. Excuse me, allergies. I'm going to sneeze. I'm going to bend down so I don't, right. Sorry. Whew. It's like the girl in the bookstore here who coughed in her hand and then handed me my money with that hand last fall. And I was like, you can have COVID. I don't want to touch that. Okay, sorry. So, paraphrasing is one way to use the text in your own writing without directly quoting source material. Anytime you are taking information from a source that is not your own, you need to specify where you got that information. I'm running into this with my big sophomore class. They had to do a PowerPoint presentation over character from one of the things they read. I'm sneaky. They're actually going to have to write a character analysis. This was a guided character analysis, okay? That's what I was doing with the PowerPoint presentation. But I have a student who, on the slide, because they're turning it in through Turnitin, which is a plagiarism checker, I guess didn't realize that that's what was going to happen. Their second slide, on that slide, 11%, it showed that 43% of the PowerPoint presentation was from sources. But on this one slide, about 90% of the words, and there were a lot of words on that, were all from Wikipedia. Wikipedia is not a source you can use. Cross it off your list. No Wikipedia, okay? Because anybody can put what they want on Wikipedia. Even though they, quote, edit it and look at it, it doesn't necessarily mean it's always accurate. So, if you use somebody else's ideas, you have to give them credit. If you paraphrase somebody else's ideas, you have to give them credit. This person actually just copied it from Wikipedia and put it on the slide. That's a no-no, okay? So, that was called plagiarism, and I said that is plagiarism because you didn't give credit, and it, you know. All right, so a paraphrase is your own rendition of essential information and ideas expressed by someone else, presented in a new form. One legitimate way, when accompanied by accurate documentation, to borrow from a source. That's what a paraphrase is. And it is a more detailed restatement than a summary, which focuses mainly or concisely on a single main idea. sometimes if you are dealing with a topic and somebody, I think in my 9 o'clock class, was wanting to do genetic, engineering or designer babies. And so, when you're talking about, and that's really what designer babies is, it's genetic manipulation, all right? And some of the articles you get into something about genetic engineering can be very technical. So if you're going to paraphrase what may only take 10 or 12 words to write, when you paraphrase it may take a lot more words to accurately give a paraphrase for what it means because of the technical terms that are used. So a lot of times a paraphrase will be longer than the original, and it can be significantly longer. So you might want to watch out what you're doing, okay? I'm getting email, ding, ding, ding. Okay, so there's 6 steps to effective paraphrasing. Reread the original passage until you understand its full meaning. So with this assignment, summary and paraphrase, I'm having you summarize the article, but I'm also having you practice paraphrasing. You can use both of those things, maybe not the entire summary, but you can use part of the summary and the paraphrase in your article as one source. You have to have 2 different sources, which means you have to have a minimum of 2 quotes or paraphrases, or a summary, okay? So I'm kind of helping you do it. So reread the original passage until you understand its full meaning. Set the original aside and write your paraphrase on another paper. Jot down a few words below your paraphrase to remind you later how you envision using that material. And then check your rendition with the original to make sure that your version accurately expresses all the essential information in the new form. Because if it too closely parallels the original, it'll come up as plagiarized, okay? Or quoted, I guess. Use quotation marks to identify any unique term or phraseology you have borrowed exactly from the source. So on the summary, you cannot quote. It has to be in your own words. On the paraphrase, if they've coined the phrase that you want to highlight, you can do that on the paraphrase, but not in the summary. And record the source, including the page on your note card. You don't have to do note cards. I think note cards, that's from an ancient past when we didn't have computers and we couldn't print things as easily as we can now, okay? But if you do make a note where you think you could use it in your final paper, that's a handy thing to have handy somewhere. And so here's an original passage that is going to be paraphrased, okay? Students frequently overuse direct quotation in taking notes, and as a result, they overuse quotations in the final research paper. Probably only about 10% of your final manuscript should appear as directly quoted matter. Therefore, I need to scroll, don't I? You should strive to limit the amount of exact transcribing of source materials while taking notes. This is from James D. Lester, Writing Research Paper, 2nd edition, 1976. Okay, it's a quote from a source. So here's a legitimate paraphrase, and you've got this on those pages. In research papers, students often quote excessively, failing to keep quoted material down to a desirable level. If I look in your paper and it's 800 words long and I can see that the bulk of every body paragraph is quotes, you've quoted too much. You don't trust your own ideas. You need to trust your writing. And the quotes only support what you're saying. They only help prove what you're saying, okay? Since the problem usually originates during note-taking, it is essential to minimize the material recorded verbatim. And so they give credit, Lester 46 through 47, because it is somebody else's ideas. That is a legitimate one. Here's an acceptable summary. Students should take just a few notes in direct quotation from sources to help minimize the amount of quoted material in a research paper. Okay? Here's plagiarized. And if you look, it's about the same length as the original. Students often use too many direct quotations when they take notes, resulting in too many of them in the final research paper. In fact, probably only about 10% of the final copy should consist of directly quoted material. So it is important to limit the amount of source material copied while taking notes. A note about plagiarism. This example has been classed as plagiarism in part because it's failure to deploy any citation. That's plagiarism. You have to give credit to the source. Plagiarism is a serious offense in the academic world. However, we acknowledge that plagiarism is a difficult term to define, that its definition may be contextually sensitive, and that all instances of plagiarism are created equal. For instance, because the student only had one slide, and 90% of that one slide was plagiarized, I didn't give them a 0 on the project. They had to do 8 slides to make an A, so the student started off with 7 slides. I just tossed that slide out and pretended it didn't exist. And the student made a C on the somewhere in the C on the project. Whereas technically, if you plagiarize at all, I can give you a 0. But I chose not to because it was only one slide. The rest of it was all the students' words. Guess they didn't think Wikipedia was gonna get picked up. So, okay. There are varying degrees of egregiousness. I had a student I guess I mentioned it early in the semester, I had a student last spring who plagiarized about 80% of somebody else's PowerPoint presentation in that big sophomore class. Just turned in their slides as their own, and it was crazy. And I was like, what was the student thinking? They were in the same class. They're at the same school. The first PowerPoint came in, not a problem, it was the first one done. Then the second PowerPoint came in with all these slides that were from the first ones, and I'm like, good Lord.
See, I've taken my friend's paper, erased his name, then wrote my name just like his name.
And it didn't get picked up?
So I turned it into the teacher and got it into the office.
Awesome, so you know yeah, well, and, technically, in college, you can get an F in the class, you can also get suspended from the university or college, so you want to be careful about plagiarism, okay? And just to paraphrasing information is from Purdue. Al, I wanted you to know that I was not stealing it from Purdue, I'm giving them credit, okay? So that is the assignment.
I'm gonna do why I believe the earth is flat.
That's what you're gonna argue? You're not gonna be able to prove it. I'm just gonna tell you. Okay. Now, what are you arguing? You sent yours in, didn't you?
Huh?
You did it for extra credit, right?
No, I think.
You didn't do it?
No.
You didn't do it. Did you do it, Morgan?
I thought it was due Sunday, so I got ready to do it on Saturday and was like,
Okay. Well, that's okay. All you have to do is download an article and upload it to that, and there's extra credit there, okay? So you're not out of the realms of possibility. So we have a sample that, is from several years ago. It was given to you last Monday when we started this, okay? So, this is the original sample. If you're having trouble with formatting, please just open this document and save it. Put your name where it says your name. Change the sections to 201 for the SBC kids, 442 for the high school kids, and make sure you change the date, okay? And so this is from when I would have students, I furnished articles and had students do it, okay? Normally I stick summary in after we do a couple of essays because they're a lot quicker for me to grade, and then we would do compare and contrast later. I flipped it this year. So you're gonna see that it comes from Opposing Viewpoints in Context. This was about North Korea as a human rights disaster, okay? Here's the link to it. Somebody have a question, or was that just me? Okay. One of the things that has changed is you no longer have to have the HTTP and all that extra stuff in front of it. Notice how it gives the access date, originally published like this. When you're in Opposing Viewpoints, what happens is they go through and they cull through all of these articles that are put out there, and they pull statements that support one side or the other. So you're getting portions of the original article. So how it says, originally published as North Korea as a human rights disaster, Trump should turn a blind eye, okay? That is the only thing is that should not be italicized. The date, that's the original publication date, okay? So, you're gonna see how, no. See, that's the citation, here is the article, and the article, North Korea rights, blah, blah, blah. I put ellipsis in there because I didn't want to have to write it all out. I was trying to get a sample document done quickly for you guys, all those years ago. And there's the author's name. The author asserts that Trump, blah, 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 blah. She also explores blah, 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 blah. I didn't want to write it out. I wasn't going to give it to somebody, because this was an actual article that I had in 2018 for those classes to use. Sadaka points out blah, 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 blah. And then Neil Sedaka, that tells you how, oh my gosh, do y'all even know who Neil Sedaka is? Okay. Concludes, blah, 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 blah. So that's what it's gonna look like, except you're gonna have a separate section now that has the paraphrase, where you give the quoted sentence out of the article needs to be typed in there, and then your paraphrase needs to be underneath it, okay? So what I was gonna do right now is I'm going to show you how to create that hanging indent, okay? So, and I'm gonna give credit. I had a student, I used to teach remedial writing, which was like 0301 or something like that. And I had a student in my remedial class that showed me the easiest way to create a hanging indent. And I was like, awesome. So I'm giving her props for this. When you're, right, I'm just going to take this down, just down to 12, so that you can see what's going on, so you can see the screen and how it's set up. So here are your headings over here on the left-hand side. The first line of the citation is, this is MLA formatting. The first, the left, see how the first line's over here? And then the article will be over here. So, I'm gonna highlight this citation, and I'm gonna get rid of that, okay? Okay. That's how quickly I can put it in and take it out. You highlight your citation, click it, and it's a lot easier with the wireless mouse than trying to do it with your finger and hold the thumb down and do all that stuff. You guys are amazing to me. I can't do that. I gotta have this, okay? So, in paragraph, if you look in all these little sections in Word, most of these have little arrows that tell you more information about them, okay? Font, clipboard, but I go to paragraph, and I'm gonna click on that, and it says indent and spacing. And if I go to the second one where it says indentation, I'm gonna see left, right, mirror indents, and I see special. Well, I want a special indent, because English is special, okay? So I don't want none. I want to go down to hanging indent. And down here at the bottom of the screen, can you see where what was there? That's actually, this is a preview of my paper. And this actually has, it shows how it's going to indent. So I click OK, and it's right back in there. It's that quick to do. Do you know how hard this was to do on computers before that happened in Word? It was hell. I'm just telling you. And I'm talking about my original computer when I went back to get my master's, had a green screen, and it was just, it was very interesting. It would take longer to do the works cited than it would to write the paper, because there was so much technical in there. So you guys have things are a lot easier, okay? So that is how quick it is to do. So what I want to do right now is I want to, I'm going to go into the library virtually. I'm going to go to the databases, and I'm going to go down to opposing viewpoints. So I just scroll because I know it's going to show up down here under general databases. So I'm going to go into opposing viewpoints. And do you guys have topics selected in your brains yet? Okay, so let's start off with doing that. So opposing viewpoints. If we go down here, issues of interest, I think this is an interesting one, and it's about missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. That's an interesting acronym, MMIWG. But Gabby Petito's disappearance, if you aren't aware of it, you have not paid any attention to the news. 24-year-old blogger whose fiance supposedly strangled her and left her, and he can't be found now, all that stuff. But what's interesting is that it reminded the media and of other missing and murdered individuals who were not white, that how the white women get more notice from the media than minorities, okay, or men even, for that matter. So that's an interesting topic. You can explore the topic, or if you've got big categories down here that you can look at, you can browse all 470 issues, or you can just click up here, browse issues. So I'm going to just go down here because it's bigger, okay? So if you were in CX, you could perfectly do your CX topic. I've always allowed, when I was teaching in high school, that was me knocking on with my knuckle on it, not anybody knocking on the door, sorry. My dogs would have been barking, okay? But if you look here, there are other issues that you could, public education, restrictions on legal immigration, arms sales. Man, you could go in there and there's going to be, let's just look at public education. Let's see what it is. The responsibility, we're educating America's children primarily falls upon the states, the federal government, meanwhile mandates, blah, 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 blah. There's all kinds of stuff in there. I don't know if that's a great one to use, but we'll go back. Scroll on down so you can see 9/11 attacks, can't do abortion, nothing about that. Adoption, Afghan war, alcohol and tobacco advertising, anti-racism, anti-Semitism. You know, anti-Semitism is against Jewish individuals. But then there's also been all the attacks on Asians because of the China disease, right? I'm sorry, I just thought that was hilarious. Okay. Let's look at, body piercing and tattooing. Let me just pick that topic, okay? I don't know why, I just thought I'd pick it. So, body piercing and tattooing, they give you an overview. So what are you gonna argue about it? Schools should allow students to be tattooed and pierced? Huh? You could? You couldn't? Oh, no, that's right, O'Donnell's not gonna let you do that. That would be very bad.
Well, Coach Nick, or the athletic director, finally said, I'm tired of fighting the students, they can have whatever they want. So now, there's like 4 kids that are, I think, sophomores or juniors, and they have neck tattoos.
Well, you know, it's a case of, I used to have a part-time job at the mall, and one of my students came in and showed me, took off his shirt and said, look at my tattoo on the back. He tattooed his birthday year on his back. Why? Why would you tattoo your birthday year on your back?
But like, these kids are like dumb, because they're giving like tattoos of like the Playboy bunny.
The Playboy bunny. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Okay, so there's tattoos, but as you scroll down, there's 5 featured viewpoints, 28 viewpoints. You know, I'm just gonna click on one. Not that anybody put this down as their topic, I'm just giving you a heads up on that, okay? So, body modification is a sign of cultural depravity. Oh gosh, that's definitely against it, isn't it? Okay? And piercing, I was looking at the name. Okay, that's 1,300 words, this one's 1,300. I'm just gonna click body modification is a sign of cultural depravity. And when you go into opposing viewpoints, article commentary, remember that's an abstract, that's a summary that somebody else has done. And you'll see there's questions. The article actually begins after it. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna download that article, but I'm gonna scroll over here all the way down to the bottom, and cool. And I'm going to, you see all the headings in there? I think that was kind of cool. Oh, look at all the stuff, golly gee. Interesting. Periodicals, there's a lot of sources in here. But down here at the bottom, see how it says MLA 9th edition? Perfectly acceptable, even though we're gonna be working off of 8th. Guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna click and drag, and I'm gonna highlight this. So I just copied that citation. So I'm gonna open up this document, but I'm gonna create a new one, all right? So here's a new one. And before I paste in, the first thing I wanna do is I wanna go up here and make it double spaced. So I've got that in there. And I should have a heading, but I'm not gonna worry about that right now. And I wanna paste in that citation. So it came in, see it? It came in, but it's not got the hanging indent. So all I have to do, I don't even have to highlight it. All I have to do is come up here, click on that top line, go to paragraph, find special indentation, go to see where it's special, and then I just click on hanging. I can see it go over, and it's done. That quickly. I didn't have to type anything, did I? That's how quickly you can do it. And so I'm gonna go through here and I'm gonna double check because, I looked at an article on curfews in my 9 o'clock class, and they had not, italicized databases and things. So this is from something called self-mutilation, it's italicized. I see it's Gale in context, opposing viewpoints is also italicized, so that's good. It says originally published as Why Deplore Annie's Facelift and Beckham's Tattoo. And I see Daily Mail, which is a newspaper. So all of those are italicized, that's correct. So that source is now ready. So I'm now ready to write my summary. So I'm not caring if I spell right. I'm just typing words. But you see what happened? Because I left it on hanging indent. When I got to the end of the line typing my summary, it indented it. So what you have to do is go back up here, and you have to take off. In paragraph, you have to go back. Once you get to the summary, come over here and take off none. And then the rest of my summary will look correct, okay? That's how, it's super easy to do. You just have to remember to do it. So that is Pretty easy, okay? So, you have, you do not have a sample summary. I have one, let me find it, it's open up here. This is from last fall. A student did this. Uh-oh. Hold on. I've got to draw. I don't want y'all to know the student's name, so. Because she's from one of my schools. Okay.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. So I just want to take that off, okay? So, here we go. All right, this is someone's summary, and I provided the articles last year. And the whole point is I want to show that summary can be part of argument. That's why it's got to be about the topic you're going to write about, so for you to get the extra credit, so that the work you're doing benefits you on the bigger assignment. I've got an itchy nose for some reason. Oh. Okay, so we're going to see Professor Thompson. So 441, that tells you that was my 8 o'clock Monday, Wednesday class. And the date is 11 October 2020. Pretty close to when it was done, right? Summary assignment. Here we go. Let's make it bigger now. Oh, I hit the wrong button. I'm good about that. Okay. Olympics postponement may be a cultural opportunity for Tokyo. So, what I see was, this needed to be italicized. Scale in context opposing viewpoints. Okay. And originally published in the conversation. Okay? So those should have been italicized. But that's not serious errors, because, the citation looks good, but, okay. In the article, Olympics postponement may be a cultural opportunity for Tokyo. Beatriz Garcia discusses the plans Tokyo had for 2020 as well as the Olympics. Garcia mentions, so we have author tag. There's an author tag. Here's an author tag. Mentions that the Olympics was a chance for Japan to be known as a major international culture and creative center. The author, there's another author tag, discusses the Nippon Festival as one of their events. Garcia explains that this festival planned to showcase Japanese heritage, celebrate the culture and economy. The author mentioned, I think we need to do some varying of our verbs. There's a lot of repetitiveness in the use of the verbs. Remember on that good summary page, down at the end of that, there's a list of the different verbs you can use. Pick some of them, but know what the word means before you use it. If you don't know what it means, don't just pick one, okay? Is going to wait and see how much of an impact postponing the Olympics will have. Garcia explains. The author states. The author mentions that Japan is following. This one does not have an author tag. Postponing the Olympics until 2021 gives organizers, but it does end with Garcia discusses. So I'm going to put this sample one in there, but you need to realize that it's not perfect, okay? So I thought that would be helpful. So it's a decent, it's a good summary because it has the author tags on every single one. I have a lot of kids who didn't pay any attention, and I only got the author mentioned once. And so as a result, they had some issues with that. Okay, so let's go in, and I'm going to go look at some other topics, okay, besides body piercing, okay? That's a bit out there. Actually, I'm going to type in, if you're having trouble and you can't think of a topic, what topic did I tell you that anybody could look at?
The death penalty.
The death penalty, okay? All right, I'm just going to type in death penalty. And the reason I'm doing this is, if you just can't make up your mind, do the death penalty, okay? So, when you go in here, there are primary sources, academic journals, viewpoints, 189 viewpoints. Let's just go look at one of them. Government execution debased U.S. law and culture. Tobacco killed, this one's interesting if you're a smoker, or wanted to do the smoking one. Tobacco killed 500,000 Americans in 2020. Is it time to control cigarette makers? How to convince okay, this one's 1,138 words. How to convince Americans to abolish the death penalty. Why morality demands the death penalty. So see, you've got both sides in there, because you're going to have to do the counter argument, okay? I'm just going to pick let's look at why morality demands the death penalty. Guess what? If you're saying we should have the death penalty, this is one of your sources, this is one of your arguments, because it's moral, okay? Why morality demands it. Okay, I'm going to download this, just remind us how to do it. download it, I'm gonna open it, then I'm gonna save it. I'm just gonna call it Article 2, if I could spell, Article 2, okay? So now I have it, and then all this stuff up there, you're gonna see full text until you get to the end of the questions. That's not material that you can look at, you can use, okay? See how everything that's in blue is not usable in your paper. You have to start with the Pope's recent declaration. So I come back over here, and as I scroll down, all right, it's not super long, but, so you're like, all right, I can do the death penalty, a lot of short articles. Well, that's okay, I don't care. But you've got to have at least 900 words for your summary. Paraphrase one, okay? But, let me blow this up. As I'm looking at all the individual little paragraphs, I see the Pope's recent declaration, whatever the merits of these arguments, the case for capital punishment transcends them. First, whoa, there's a clue, there's the first point the author's making. So if you choose to do it, there's one of your sentence, you're gonna have to paraphrase that sentence. Does the death penalty deter crime? Oh my gosh. That's another, you can say, yes, it does. Second, does capital punishment put innocent people to death? Look at what this article is giving you on the death penalty. You don't want to use it as your only source, but it's got a lot of stuff. And moreover, abolishing it, okay? Third, does the death penalty inflict cruel and unusual punishment? Oh my gosh, this is a good article about the death penalty. Okay? Fourth, many believe that capital punishment is an attack on the dignity of the person. There's a fourth one. On the contrary, the death penalty elevates the human being, okay? Justice alone, there's an interesting, justice alone demands that we keep the death penalty. So this is not a bad source, okay? So if you can't find a topic, please, do the death penalty. And that's just because there's so much information out there about it, okay? So all I have to do, now that I've downloaded that article, let me get into your class. Well, this is your class, isn't it? 201, is you guys? You guys are 201? Or are you 2? Okay. So, I'm gonna go, let me go to course content. Somehow I ended up in the textbook. We're on week 8 now, halfway there, woo! Okay, weekly checklist shows discuss, summary, and paraphrase. It says submit copy of article to Blackboard for extra credit. That's what we're doing right now. Submit copy of article for extra credit. Okay, I'm gonna come over here. I'm gonna have to make this a little bit smaller, because it was a bit cranky. I'm gonna browse local files. I see Article 2, I'm going to click Open, and I'm going to click Submit. Now see, submission from preview assignment is not saved, because I'm the instructor, okay? That's why we can't save it. I'm not a student, so I can't upload articles. But for you, it should show it, and you should be able to see the draft, okay? That's all you have to do. That's super easy. I spent, 2 minutes doing that? I'm not asking for a lifetime commitment to do this extra credit assignment, okay? It's that easy. So let's go back, let's hit cancel. We're gonna go back over here, go back to that article, the PDF. Down, once again at the bottom, you have the citation. Okay, so I'm gonna click on this, and please notice that full text copyright, source citation, MLA 9th edition are not part of the citation. The citation always begins with an author's name or the title of the article. Sometimes they don't have authors. So, I just click and drag on that, or I could do it from the page. I'm going to come over here back to my Word document where it has the other one that I was doing, body, this one. Okay. I'm going to paste it in, and because I took out that hanging indent, I can put it back in. Right up here. This is how quick you can do a double, your works cited too. Okay, so when I get it in here, please notice, can you see that Gale opposing viewpoints was not italicized? I can, that quick. Gale in context opposing viewpoints. And sometimes you get some quirky things. An American thinker. So that one's done. So what I want to do is, that's how easy opposing viewpoints is. I want to go into the other one, Academic Search Complete. Remember, because it's slightly different. I'm trying to reinforce what she went on, because I know Miss Pineda, I love her, but her voice is very much at a tone like this, and it's hard to pay attention to her when she talks like that, because you just want to go to sleep when she talks, right?
Thanks for that.
Well, it's a very pleasant voice, but it's hard, particularly for those kids at the schools. You know, their distance. You at least have a live person in the classroom with you, okay? So let's go over here to databases. Now I'm going to click on Academic Search Complete. This is the one that is EBSCO. And so I'm going to type in death penalty. Okay. And I'm going to type in moral. But I don't want it to be and that. I'm going to go all text so that it'll search what's in there. And let's see what we get. We get 1,646 articles. Now, what you've got to realize is while you're looking at this is not going to be like opposing viewpoints all the time. But I look down here, this is 1973. It's 40 pages long, right there, 41 pages. You don't want that article, most likely, but you could look at it. What I want to do is I'm going to come over here for publication date. Let me make it a little bit smaller so I can get the toggle line. And I just want to go up, I'm going to go up to, let's go to 2010 and see how many articles it goes down to. Remember, you can do that. And so it updates. So now instead of 1,600, we have 698. Okay. Oh, that one's still up there. Okay. But if you look, it's 2021. That's why, because of its relevance, it's right then. Sentence to death for life. Essays on Oregon's death penalty. That's interesting. Video results. I don't want videos. I'm just going to click on newspapers to see if I can shorten it some more, okay? It went down to 54. So there's ways to limit it. Death penalty is against church teachings. That might be that same article. No, it's National Catholic Reporter. So I can open that up. I can see that. Remember, that's just the abstract, okay? You can't click on the title in this one. You have to go back. Look over here where it says PDF full text. I click on that. So I'm actually going to see, in this one I'm going to see how it looked when it was published in the periodical. All right? So if I want to download it, I click on the email to, I'm just sending it to my personal email. I'm just typing Article 3. Okay. So PDF is separate attachment, but you've got to change, remember it defaults to Brazilian national standards. So you've got to go here and select MLA 8. Okay. And then, okay, where's my send button? I've lost the send button. Let me make it smaller. There we go. I had to make it smaller so I could see it. And it's been sent to me, all right? So if I go on my personal email, I'll find it. But you're going to see when it looks like this, the citation is, you know what I'm saying? Citation is hard to deal with. So let me go into my personal email really quick. Oh, that's interesting. Article 3, it's already in there. Okay, so I'm going to, me article. So there it is. Citation. Here's the works cited. The link, there's the PDF of the article. I'm going to copy that, go to my Word document, come down here, let's see what happens. Okay, oh look. Now see how it's capitalized? We don't capitalize all the letters of somebody's name, so you've got to go through and make corrections on that, okay? Christopher, okay. All right, it's got italicizing on National Catholic Reporter, EBSCO host, and it shows what it, okay, there it is, okay? And that's done. And the only thing wrong here is that I don't have my thing in alphabetical order. As a works cited, it wouldn't work. It's got to be in alphabetical order by whatever is listed first. So that quickly you can do it, okay? So that's the difference between Academic Search Complete and Gale. I do want to, some people are looking into education. They're writing about schools being held, should schools be judged on test scores. Let me go back into databases really quick over here, and let's go into subject databases. Let's go. I don't want to do English. Actually, go down, A to Z databases. I'm going to have to make it smaller. If you can't see something, A to Z databases. So I can see them here. I'm going to go down to E. EBSCO, Educational Administration Abstracts. ERIC is also education. I'm just going to click on ERIC. And you'll look, it's EBSCO, so I'm going to type in, schools, if I could type, schools and test scores. Okay, I'm going to just click search and see what happens. I got 7,980 responses, okay? Schools and, okay, so, what I'm gonna do, I'm looking through here to see what else it says. Test scores. I'm gonna go and make that all text. Let's see if that changes it any. Or if it's still 7,980. Yeah, but keep it the same. So schools, test scores, and evaluation. Okay, maybe that'll change it. We went down to 2,400. Oh wow, these look really interesting. School effects on achievement, an empirical comparison of several methods. Okay, these are all going to be pretty technical, so you got to be careful. But you're going to see full text. Let's do that toggle thing. Let's go up to 2009. That might make a big difference. Okay, so I'm just going to open up this one. The title is very confusing. But validation methods for aggregate level test scale linking, a case study mapping school district test score distributions to a common scale. Boy, that doesn't sound like fun reading at all whatsoever. And it's not very long. Look at it. Wait, is that the full text? Full text available on, here we go. See, now I've got to go into ERIC. So once you get out of Academic Search Complete and Opposing Viewpoints, getting full text might be harder to do. But there are things called interlibrary loan. But if you're looking for an article to turn in tomorrow for extra credit, Opposing Viewpoints is probably your best bet to go to. And again, when in doubt, what topic should you use? Penalty, okay. Since I have 3 guys in here who have no idea, okay. All right, so that's all I got. So on Wednesday, we will be working on paraphrasing. I will be sending documents to the schools for them to print for you guys because we're going to work on them in class. I know you're excited about it. Okay? That's it. We're done. 4 minutes early. Okay. I've got a trash pile over here. Copies off a lot of stuff. Matthias, did you turn in your compare and contrast accidentally to the draft? You have a compare and contrast paper in there, but it's only turned into the draft, not the finished one. Okay, let me know, because I think I sent you a message about it, okay?
Oh,
Okay. You never turned one in.
I know.
Okay, you made the choice. All right, so be sure you've got to get this stuff done. You have to get it done. Or are you overwhelmed with school and work?
If you want honest truth?
Yes.
All right. I can't stop overthinking the article. I tried writing what I thought what basically suits how you see the article. And I do feel overwhelmed. Told my parents I wasn't ready for college, and this is more overwhelming than I thought.
How's your math class going?
We have a test tomorrow. I'm gonna probably have to stay up late tonight to try and
Okay.
study for it.
So,
And I've never studied for a math exam before. I usually know how to study for an English one, just not math.
and I don't give those kind of exams, do I? Okay. I'm trying to think how I can help you get past this block you've got about, I don't want you to write what you think I want, what you think I want. I want it to sound like you, but I want you to be more
Your
concise.
conference is scheduled to end in 2 minutes.
That's what I also tried thinking of at 2 a.m. this morning.
So does the summary seem like can be something you can do? Or you're just telling me what somebody else said in your words?
Yes.
That's what a summary is.
The only confusion that I will absolutely have is citation.
And the easiest thing to do is, once you find the article, click, drag, copy that citation, put it on your heading. I'll tell you what, let's do this. Okay. Because first off, you don't have a topic, that's part of the problem.
Well, that one was pretty easy. I was just gonna think of. So since it's arguing and trying to persuade someone about a point, right?
Yes, you're arguing about an issue.
Oh, okay. Then I'd probably need to catch up on the issues of the law currently.
Okay. I hate it when I do that. 442, and I'm actually just creating the first part of the document for you. The draft is due Friday, so that is 18th, 22nd. My cursor jumps and drives me crazy. Okay.
Your conference
So,
is now over.
you're not
Goodbye.
sure what you're gonna do, right? Okay.
I don't know the current issues of the law.
Well, there's tons of, that's why I said if part of your problem is trying to figure out what you want to do it on, just write on the death penalty. I'm trying to tell you that, or that America needs to be more, environmentally cautious. You know what I'm saying? Just pick something like that. It doesn't have to be this big, humongous, soul-searching kind of thing. You just get it done, I guess is what I'm trying to say, all right? Okay, Dante Mallory, draft. Okay, so, all right, so I've got that started for you, okay? So, but, I mean, when in doubt, you strike me as somebody who wants to write about something you care about, but trying to figure out what you care about is the problem, correct?
Yes.
Or which one you feel like you want to write about. That's why I said do the death penalty, because you're not emotionally attached to it. And you just, that first article I pulled up had all the reasons you could be, are you for it or against it?
The death penalty?
Yeah.
Against it.
Okay, then just go in and find, but the arguments in that one was against it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, just, there's your arguments, because it is, there's tons of arguments. It doesn't save money. It costs much more money to execute somebody than it does than it does. No, that's not the best argument for that one. It actually does, because when you have capital punishment, they have to go through all, and they get it, you have to go through all of these series of, appeals, so that you don't do it. So, or I could have talked about euthanasia. Do you know what that is?
Euthanasia?
Uh-huh.
Isn't that for animals, or?
Well, actually, it's for humans.
Oh.
It tends to be paired with physician-assisted suicide.
Ah, yes, okay, so that's what it was.
Yeah, so euthanasia is though when you have an individual who's comatose, and they've been in a bad accident, and they're just barely, they're just they're just breathing, they're fed, everything's done to them. So you go ahead and allow them to die. That is still illegal. Physician-assisted suicide is legal in some states in the U.S.
Yeah.
But that's where an individual, not a student, someone who's got a debilitating disease chooses to die before it takes up all their money, puts them through physical pain and suffering, and it kind of destroys their family.
Yeah.
So is that a topic that might interest you more?
Yes. And it was, physician assisted.
I'm gonna write it on this. Okay, it's there. I'm gonna send this to you in a course message, okay?
Alright.
Save. And that way you have it, okay? Get rid of that, don't save.
And
Get rid of
another thing that needs to be discussed is accommodations for your class. I got an email from the disability office saying
Okay.
I have to sit down with y'all guys and talk about it.
Okay, all right, I'm here. So, they haven't sent me any paperwork yet.
No, we have to agree upon, like,
Oh, okay,
accommodations, then
Okay.
no problem. Then I don't know how I'm supposed to tell them. We came to some kind of agreement. I think I'm just supposed to go in there and tell them.
exactly, okay. So, this is a draft for the summary with possible topics, okay?
Alright.
Okay. Well, I've got to close out the document. Dummy, I know that. You know I can do it. Okay, so it's sent to you in a course message, okay? So, I mean, what kind of accommodations were you given in high school?
Extended time, ability to move around the classroom, child to step up. Let's see here. The main one was basically just extended time and basically the option of the teacher reading